Welcome to the Tuniacs Goodsam ESP webinar hosted by Stuckey & Company. As some of you might have heard, I'd like to thank and introduce Dylan Stuckey, Lead Auto Services Business Owners Underwriter at Stuckey & Company, Scott Blanc and Frank McMillan, VP and General Manager at Goodsam ESP. And, thanks for being here and presenting and making yourselves available for questions and answers during and after the webinar. So first, I guess, just to skim over this, the GoToWebinar control panel, we will try to answer any questions that we get today. So you can answer, or you can ask the questions in the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side. Just click on that little drop down and ask any questions. And also, we will have a follow-up email later on this afternoon or tomorrow that'll have the link to the recording of the webinar, PowerPoint presentation, and we have some other goodies that we'll go through this afternoon also. So let's get started. So Stuckey & Company celebrated 26 years as an MGA in 2017. We have 8 specialty programs, and we just launched what we call a 151 promise this last year. And so that's any service request or quote request that we get in by 1, we get out by 5, in by 5, out by 1 the next day. And that's really helped increase our service standards. I'd like to go through just a few things real quick, but I want to skim through them. So I'll go fast, I'll include the slides, and get to kind of the meat of the matter about the ESP product. So this is what we do on a day-to-day basis, everything from create the program through training and marketing. One interesting thing here is we do a lot of systems integration. So between our agent or the carrier. We'll keep each other up to date on some of those things too. These are our programs. Safety Tech is the largest program that we have at Stuckey & Company for technology business, but we also have personal lines, commercial lines, and if it falls outside of those products, we have a surplus lines product as well. So the Tuniacs program is a specialty insurance program for the auto services industry. It was launched by the Hartford as a pilot program in October in 6 states. We were one of 6 agents in those states, and we are the only agent in all states except 6, which are the states that we are not in are New York, California, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, and Indiana. So that's on the business insurance side. Scott will go over the states that we're in on the ESP side too. So here's some of our values with the business owner's policy. It's the Hartford solid A+15 rated carrier. We recognize the shop's ASE certification, and we pay 15% new and renewal commissions, which are some of the top commissions you can find. It's easy to place. 151 promise. We get it in. If we get it in by 1, we get it out to you by 5. And if we have any issues, we'll tell you exactly what those are. This is our appetite. Basically, I'll go to the next slide and maybe come back to this one. The class eligibility is very broad. The only thing I'll say is that's not on this slide or this one as an eligible class. Our tow truck operators, so if they have a contract with like AAA or somebody like that where they're really a tow truck operation, we don't like those much. And if it's like an auto sales, like a used car dealership, we don't like those. Although they can have 5 or 10 car sales, we don't write a used car dealer. So it really revolves around service and repair. These are the coverages, you know, GL, property, comp, auto, and umbrella. We can do, I think, up to 25 locations, and some pretty high property limits as well. And these are the specialty coverages. This is a pretty detailed slide, I think, and I guess I can provide some more details through a quote proposal that we'll use in the follow-up email. But it includes garage operations liability, garage keepers, obviously, faulty work and defective products that covers 100% of the repair costs if the work is done by our shop, hired and non-owned auto, employee tools, and that auto services stretch. And that is kind of a quick overview of the business owner's policy that we have through the Hartford. And let's turn it over to Scott to present on the ESP product.
Thanks, Dwight. I appreciate you having me back on today, and I appreciate everyone else for joining us. I'm going to switch over here and let you see my screen. Dwight, can you see the new presentation there?
I can.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the Good Sam Extended Service Plan is really a unique program. It's the only one of its kind available in the U.S. And this came about because we wanted to build a product specifically for Good Sam members. So a little bit of background on the Good Sam Club. The Good Sam Club is the largest RV and travel association in the world. Really, we have 1.7 million active members. And back in 1996, we wanted to build an extended warranty-like product and make it available directly to our membership. So to do that, we had to create a mechanical breakdown insurance policy that legally can be offered directly to the consumer without the involvement of a car or RV dealer. So since that time, the program has grown substantially, and even though we started out specializing in RVs, both motorized and towable, we've expanded to cover autos, passenger autos, pickup trucks, and SUVs. So this is a great product that you can offer in all 50 states. It's available across the country. We service and repair autos and RVs in all 50 states in Canada. So it's a wonderful program for travelers in particular. As I mentioned, we launched this in 1996. It's been fully insured by QBE Insurance Europe since 1999. So they're an A+ rated carrier that we've been with for quite a while. To give you an idea of the eligibility, the types of vehicles we can cover, just focusing on the autos, trucks, and SUVs, we can cover anything that's 15 model years or newer, which should be at this point in time a 2002 or newer, as long as they have less than 100,000 miles. So that's a pretty broad qualification. Once the product, the vehicle is enrolled in the program, we can renew that coverage until the vehicle's 18 model years old or until it reaches 150,000 miles. Similar qualifications for the motorized and towable RVs. So basically what this insurance covers, as I mentioned, it's very much like an extended service plan, different legal structure, but it covers the same kinds of things. So it's designed to pick up the cost of labor and parts when you have a mechanical failure that's outside the manufacturer's warranty. So that covers all the drivetrain components, dash AC, electronics, heating and air conditioning. So the way the program works, we have a web-based rating engine. So what we were thinking for this program, this is kind of a unique approach. The first time we're offering this product through this channel, but what we thought we could do is open up the ability to have your customers, if you've got customers that are in the auto service space, you've got a repair shop, they've got autos coming through for repair, they could go online and generate a quote and bind the policy right there in their shop. Anyone with access to the internet can get online and do a quote in about 2 minutes. Very quick and easy. We've also talked to a number of agents that want to offer this directly to their end users. If they're offering auto insurance or other auto related products, this is a great way to increase the transaction value. So what I'd like to do now is just show you exactly how this quoting engine works. Let's go through and enter a quote quickly here. So the portal lets you into the rating engine by using your unique ID. So we'll assign everyone that's going to be using the quoting engine a unique ID so we can track all of their quotes and sales after the fact. Once you enter your unique ID and password, you're taken to this rating engine here. So we'll just go through and quickly create an auto quote. So we're selecting the vehicle type, the manufacturer, the model, and you'll find for the most part pretty broad selection of makes and models available. You won't find Mercedes or Porsche or some of the higher end sports cars, but you'll find most passenger autos, pickup trucks, and SUVs. So here we're capturing the customer information. The phone number is optional, but if we can capture the phone number, we have a chance to follow up on this lead in our call center and increase the odds of converting it into a bound policy. Same thing with the address. The address is optional, but we have a great direct mail package that goes out to everyone that's quoted. So if we can get a valid address, again, it's going to help our conversion rate. We have a permissions here that allows us to send an email follow-up to the quote if the permissions are accepted by the customer. We've got the current odometer reading, fuel type, and transmission type. The last questions here, is this a four-wheel drive? And do you own the vehicle or is it a potential purchase? So if they're already in possession of the vehicle, the answer would be yes. So that's it. This gives us our rates. And you can see at this point, we have some choices. You can select a 3-year term or a 6-year term. The reason we're offering a multi-year term in this case is because there's still some underlying manufacturer's warranty. If the vehicle being quoted is more than 3 years or 36,000 miles, then you would see just a single 1-year rate. We also have a choice of deductibles, anywhere from 100 to 500 on autos, goes up to 1,000 on RVs. And the customer has a choice of payment methods. They can pay monthly, they can pay quarterly, they can pay annually, or they can pay the entire term up front. We also have an option to include tire coverage. You can see in this case, adding the coverage for the tires would increase the price by $9.63 a month. Anything that you enter here is going to be validated, so there's no way that you could enter a model year that's too old or a mileage that's too old. The system is doing all the validation for you. Once you've selected the deductible, we go to a confirmation page, and this is just where you get the chance to ensure that everything is accurate. Maybe review the information on the auto with the customer. We also have a quote number here. This quote number, if you copy it, jot it down, allows you to come back into the website at a later date and retrieve the same quote if you do a follow-up with the customer. Once you're happy with the information, we'll move on to binding the policy. So this, again, gives us a recap of the coverage, gives us a chance to fill in any missing information, phone number, address, and then there's a blurb here about the Good Sam Club. As I mentioned, this was built specifically for the club. It's a members-only benefit, so everyone that wishes to purchase a policy needs to become a Good Sam member if they're not already. So if you leave the checkbox no, then we'll add a $25 membership fee to the first payment. If they happen to be a Good Sam member, then we can capture that information here. Then we'd add the VIN, and we're ready to go. So here's where we capture the payment information. We're going to select the frequency, whether it's pay in full, annual, monthly, or quarterly. Select payment method. We can accept all credit cards and also direct debit from checking and savings. So this is a great way for people on a budget to break this down into a monthly cost. Then we've got a couple of statements at the bottom. We're asking for confirmation that they have read the information provided and that they understand that we do not cover pre-existing conditions. So this would mean any failure that occurred before the effective date of the policy would not be covered. And then we're asking for their permission to continue to use the credit card or direct debit payment method as this policy renews. We'll just continue to direct bill the customer. So that's it from the rating side. Once the information is entered, we'll be mailing out a nice package. It's full color package. It's personalized for the consumer. It gives all the information they need about the program. We can set it up so that it's personalized with your information up here in the right-hand corner as the agent and your callback number. And it provides all the payment information and a way for them to return this in the mail to get coverage bound. So again, if we can capture that accurate address, there's a better chance that we'll bind that policy. So the way the program works, we're going to take care of all the back-end billing with the customer. Any customer service questions or issues, we've got a call center open 10 hours a day, so we can take care of the customer through our call center. And the way we envision the process working is if we can get your customers at the retail level to generate quotes, they can close those quotes right there if the customer has interest, or we can follow up and close that customer after the fact. So what we generally do is leave a 14-day lead protection on these quotes, so that if you or your customers wish to follow up and try to close the policy, you'll have that time to do so. After 14 days, then we'll start a direct mail and telemarketing campaign to close these customers. We generally have about a 20 to 22% closing rate. So the way we've envisioned the compensation working, Just to give you an idea, the average premium for an auto policy is $930. So for any quotes that are closed by you or your customer, we're paying a 21% commission. That would be an average of $195. If your customer or you quote the policy and we bind it through our call center, then we would pay an 11% commission. That averages about $102. We do have chargebacks for any cancellations within the first 60 days. Once we pass that 60-day mark, we don't do any chargebacks on commission. If the customer happens to go online and close the contract on their own, then you'd be paid the full commission on those transactions. So what we envisioned, if you have retail shops, service facilities that want to get involved and generate some income, have access to a good steady flow of customers in for service, then what we're proposing is that we pay them directly $10 per quote, regardless of whether they close or not. And then we would pay you as the agent 15% commission above and beyond that for any policies that you or your customer close. That would be an average of $140. Or we pay a 5% commission if it's a sale that we end up making through our call center. And then as we get some experience, this is calibrated at a 15% conversion rate. So if you have customers that end up historically generating a higher conversion rate than that, then we can raise that $10 per quote fee. Or any questions? Dwight, do you want to jump in and add anything before we get to the next steps?
Yeah, you bet. So a few questions that we have. Is there a waiting period on coverage?
There is no waiting period, but we do, as I said, we do enforce no coverage for pre-existing conditions. So generally what happens is if there is a claim in the first 30 days, the high dollar claim, we'll send out an inspector. We've got a staff of inspectors around the country that can be out to a repair shop within 24 hours, and they'll inspect the failure. And it's very easy for them to tell if this is something that happened today or yesterday or happened a month ago before the policy was bound. We're just policing pre-existing conditions, but without having a waiting period.
Right. So what you're trying to do is just prevent Bob from going into the shop with a bad transmission, getting his windshield wipers repaired, and then coming back 30 days later to buy and essentially buying the claim, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the premiums looked fairly low, and so the question is, the pricing is extremely competitive, and is there the ability to add additional money onto it, or I think that probably speaks to the insurance as opposed to a warranty.
No, that's exactly right. This product doesn't have the markup that you'd see at a dealership, so you do see some very competitive rates. But because it's an actual property and casualty policy, you can't just tack on extra profit or add extra commissions. The retail rate is the retail rate.
Right. And is there renewal commission?
There is not. We tried to pack as much commission up front to make this a worthwhile program, so we did not build in the renewal commissions.
And I think it makes sense, right? A lot of these guys are probably a single term. They might do a 3 or 5 year term. By that time, they're going to sell the car or whatever is going to happen, right?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of these cars are older to begin with, so we have an average of about a 3.5 year lifespan on most of these.
Okay. Well, there's some other questions. Should we go ahead and finish up and then go through the questions, or?
Sure. I just had this last slide. So anyone that's interested in moving forward, the next steps would be to get the agency agreement executed with Stuckey and Company, if you haven't already done that. And then if you can just send me an email and provide me with the information of anyone that would be logging into the system so we can create that unique user ID for tracking purposes. We'll get that back to you and provide you the links, and you'll be ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, and I see there's quite a few people on that are already agents. So, and we can talk to you about that kind of individually also. So just a few more questions. Here's a person that has a couple shops insured and is wondering if the coverage has to be quoted by the shop or if they can do it while quoting the personal, home, or auto.
I think it's ideal to quote it while they're quoting other coverage. I think either channel works well. The only restriction we have is if it's being quoted through a shop and it's not a licensed insurance agent, then we can't pay a commission, and that's why we propose that we just pay them a flat fee per quote. It's not tied to the sale, the final insurance premium.
Right. Is there a way to participate in the product or the program when if they don't, for the shop to participate in the program when they don't actually want to quote it at point of sale?
If they want to push information either back to their agent or back to us, then we could generate the quotes.
Okay. So and I think we talked about that a little bit. We have a either get the data by whatever export method the shop has, or we have a standard format of Excel spreadsheet that we can give the shop also.
Yeah, and I think we just have to explore that, what kind of a list that would be, and how we'd work out the compensation for that kind of an approach.
And what states is it available in?
Available in all 50 states.
Okay, so so just to expand on that a little bit, the business owner's policy through the Hartford is not available in those 6 states. So it's New York, California, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, and Indiana. We're filing in those states, but this ESP product is available nationwide.
That's right.
And is the ESP product tied to the Hartford BOP policy? Under the Tuniacs program, we're offering both business owners coverage for the shop as well as access to the ESP product, but they're not tied together. One's insured by QBE. The ESP product is insured through QBE, and the business owner's policy has Hartford as the insurance carrier. Is there a app or like an Android app or an iOS app for the iPhone?
There is not. We're going through a conversion to make this our rating engine more mobile friendly, but at the moment it's really it's accessible through the internet on any mobile device, but it really works a lot better on a desktop unit.
But I will say that it's a really responsive website and super easy, and it's accessible over the through Android or through Safari on the iPhone. So any web browser can be used.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit difficult to navigate on a small screen, but we're working on some enhancements that'll be out early part of next year that should help with that.
Okay, and just one last question. Can we get a copy of the brochure, that the quote proposal that you showed up there?
Yeah.
And
I'll go ahead and send you the PDF, and you can share it with the audience.
Okay. So is it actually an accepted method of payment, I guess, or at most repair shops? So in other words, like any repair shop can use the warranty product, I guess, right?
That's right. And most shops are used to dealing with warranty authorizations. So we generally don't have an issue. Occasionally you'll run into a shop that just insists that they won't call us for payment, and the customer can then go ahead and pay for the repair and submit it directly to us for reimbursement. But generally the shops are used to dealing with extended warranties and MBI policies.
Okay, and one last question. I know we're over time, but can companies buy the policy for commercial, commercially owned autos?
No, it's not designed for commercial use, so that's one of the exclusions in the terms and conditions.
Okay, so no commercial only, no commercial auto, just personal auto.
That's right.
Okay, well, I think that's the questions that we have. Scott, thank you for presenting. I appreciate it. And we're really excited about the partnership. If anybody else has any questions, you can direct them to either Scott or I. We'll get the follow-up email out to you later on this afternoon. So thanks everybody for attending.
Thanks for having me, Dwight.
Thank you.